Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to go through the invoice section of Brahmin Solutions. Basically how to invoice, give you an overview of invoices, how to track your invoices, how to do, if you do split invoicing, how do you do split invoicing, how do you set the payment terms, how do you make sure that your invoices are being paid on time. So just kind of that whole overview, all right? So the first thing, before we get started, there's some things that we want to kind of set up to make sure that your invoicing process is pretty smooth. So first thing is invoices are created off of sales orders. So every single invoice is tied to a sales order. So without a sales order, there is no invoice. And you can invoice multiple times against a sales order until you've invoiced everything on the sales order. Okay. And then the other thing is there's a couple things that you can do to kind of automate this, make things a little easier, like payment terms and things like that. All right. So first thing we want to do is go over the settings. There's drop downs. Within drop downs, you want to go to payment terms master. And what you want to do is make sure that all of your payment terms are set up here. Okay, so here I have the ability. So here I've set it up as net 30. It's due in 30 days from the invoice date. You can set up any payment details. If it's like a credit card or cash or it's like a bank transfer, you can set up the payment details like the account number, routing number, and so on. Okay, so that it appears on the invoice. The other thing you want to do is once payment terms are created, you want to go over to sales and the customer and actually assign these payment terms. So what this does is makes it so much easier when you're creating an order and then you're ready to invoice them that the payment term is already set. So all you have to do is click a button and then the invoice is created with the due date and such. Otherwise, you have to make sure that you're selecting the payment term, all right? So here, if I go to Protein Plus retailers, I go to details. So here you have that the payment term is set. So the payment term is net 30. So it's already preset. All right. Okay. Now going over to view sales. So there's two screens to manage your invoices. So the first is, since everything goes off of the sales, so the first thing we want to do is look at view sales. So here is a list of all your open sales orders. Okay. So you can invoice in the system as long as the order is in a confirmed status or basically further along. So confirmed status or above. So confirmed, in process, and fulfilled. So you can still invoice something that has been fully fulfilled in our system because it's been shipped. It just hasn't been invoiced yet. So if your workflow is I fulfill the order and then I go back invoice the customer. So you have the ability to look at all of the orders that have been fulfilled. In this case, this order and this order, you can actually just go to the to invoice tab and see what you need to invoice. So Brahmin helps you see what you need to invoice. Okay. And you can also just filter here, come down here and just go to status, say fulfilled, check that out. Okay. So you can quickly see what needs to be fulfilled. What has been fulfilled. And so as a result, what do I need to invoice? All right. That's one. There's also the ability for you to check if you've invoiced someone and they haven't paid you. You have the ability to see who hasn't paid me, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting paid. So anything that's been invoiced will show up here as to pay. Okay. Another place that you'd want to check all this is go to sales and then here, view invoices. So this is a very particular specific screen. So in order for the invoice to appear here, the invoice has to be created. Right? So for example, we looked at the order that's been fulfilled, but an invoice hasn't been created. So it wouldn't appear here. So this is only for invoices that have been created. And this is where you'd want to see like, what are my overdue invoices and things like that. So this is a specific invoices section. And you'll see a couple important invoice related options here. So you'll see invoice synced, payment synced. This is to your integration. So if you have a QuickBooks, a Xero integration, the Brahmin system will tell you if it's been synced or not, right? So you'll see that it's been synced or not. Quickly, you can see that here. You can also see if things have been overdue, someone hasn't paid you yet. And also you'll have a tie-in back to the sales order as well, all right? So everything is, again, tied back into the sales order. Okay, so now going back into view sales, right? So also the other thing you can see is you can see the progress of your invoices. So you'll see here, I've only invoiced about 19%. Here I invoiced about 50. So again, this is based on your workflow. If your workflow is to invoice ahead of time or after, like again, depending on what you need to do. So if you invoice ahead of time, you'll see that it's been invoiced before shipment has been done. Also, if you do split shipments and split invoicing as a result of it, you also can see that, okay, this has been partially invoiced. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I want to go ahead and invoice an order that I've already shipped, right? So I'm going to go to the Healthy Grocers here. So I'm going to pull up this. All right, I'm going to go over to the invoice tab, and then here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an invoice and try to email it to them. So what I can do is the payment terms are not set on this for this specific customer. So I'm going to set it here, and all I have to do is click confirm. So this has been fully shipped out. So all I have to do is click confirm. But you also have the option to just only ship out. So this is specifically used if you are doing partial invoicing. So say you only shipped out like half of the items, you can click on shipped and it'll only allow you to invoice like half of what was shipped. So basically whatever is shipped. Okay, so I'm going to come here, click confirm. As soon as I click confirm, the invoice is created. Okay, and the invoice has a specific due date. All right, so if I were to go back, and you will see that this that order is no longer into invoice, but instead it will now be into to pay, basically. Okay, and it will also exist in the view invoices. Okay, all right, a couple more things that you could do. You have the ability to actually email the invoice out. So if you were to click email, it's going to pre-populate the email template. Okay, so if you want to set up email templates that you can just edit and mark as send, you go over to the settings section here, and there is a section called email, and you filter down to invoice email. So you can pre-configure. There's a specific video for this. You can set up your emails. So basically you can set up your email template here, what you want the template to say. You can also use a couple attributes from the invoice itself. All right, and then you just go ahead and invoice the order out of the system. All right, so let me just go back to pay. So here I can go here, click on invoice, basically click email. So this customer, I think we were looking at a different invoice. So let's go. Yep, so this one. So if I go to invoice, click email, things are pre-populated already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and email this to myself. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to click email, and then you can add other additional attachments. But again, the attachment that goes out with this email is going to be the PDF. So it's the PDF that you can actually print out within the system. So here is the PDF. Okay, this PDF can be customizable, but this is what's also sent out as an additional. So if I were to go, so what I have done is let me go ahead and pull up so here's my email. So you'll see that, hello, here's the invoice attached. The invoice is due on November 24th, and then you'll see the invoice being attached. So, all right, as soon as you send it. And also another thing that you could do is once an invoice is sent out, you can actually just go over to the sales order tab. There's a memo section. And here, what you'll do is you can see when the invoice. So this is for you to check, have I emailed a customer or not? You can actually check and see if you've emailed a customer, okay? A couple more things that we could do to automate this process is if I go to view customers and let's pull up this bulk wholesalers, all right? So first thing here is the contact that you have. You can set up order specific contacts, invoice specific contacts, and shipment specific contacts. Again, this will help you automate it because what's going to happen is that when you're clicking on to invoice, you don't have to go find the emails and then type them, and so you can have the system pre-populate. So Mary is set up to be an order and an invoice. So as soon as I click invoice, it's going to show up with Mary's email basically, all right, on the invoice. You also have the ability to go to notifications and say, turn on invoice notification. So if you turn on invoice notification, what happens is as soon as the invoice is created within Brahmin, that invoice is automatically also sent to the customer. So as soon as you finalize an invoice, it's automatically sent to the customer. Okay? So those are a couple things that you can do to essentially automate this process. All right, finally, going back into that split invoicing that we're talked about. So here is a invoice that's been invoiced half. So I can go here and actually just click on new invoice and create a new invoice. I can also, if this invoice has been paid, I can go click pay here, say bank, click pay. I can also backdate if it was paid yesterday, go ahead, click pay. and this invoice is now partially, basically, this invoice is fully paid. The order is basically half paid, right? I can go ahead, click another invoice, click confirm. I've now invoiced everything, okay? So you can see that I have now invoiced everything on the invoice. I've invoiced everything, but only gotten half the payment. All right. Also, if you decided, you can also edit invoices. So let's say you made a mistake on the most recent invoice that you invoiced a little too early, or there's a correction. Actually, this is going to be split even more, and out of this, you're only going to invoice, let's say 20. So you can do that and save it. So now there's still a pending 30 more to be invoiced. Okay. So you can go ahead, edit invoices. You can go ahead and I can just completely delete this invoice if I want to, right? Also, I can delete all of the invoices against it. I can remove a payment. So if you've made any mistakes, you can go back, edit it, and update it. And all of this data is also synced up with your accounting platform. So if you go ahead and delete it, it will delete the invoice from your accounting platform as well. Okay? So if you guys have any questions on the invoicing and how things work, if there's any specific things that you do not understand, just book a demo with us. We're happy to kind of walk you through this process and also take your current process and show how that would work on the Brahmin Solutions platform. All right? Thank you.